Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about some interesting things about Australia. Australia is the sixth largest country in the world, occupying an entire continent of some 7.6 million square kilometers. Canberra was selected as the capital because Sydney and Melbourne could not stop arguing which city should be the capital of Australia. It has the world's third largest ocean territory, spanning three oceans and covering around 12 million square kilometers. Vegetation covers nearly 7 million square kilometers, or 91% of Australia. Most of Australia's exotic flora and fauna cannot be found anywhere else in the world. The wattle was adopted as the national floral emblem in 1912. It contains an amazing ecosystem with unique flora and fauna, including pristine rainforests, ancient rock formations, and beautiful beaches. The largest cattle station in the world is Anna Creek Station in South Australia at over 34,000 square kilometers. It is even larger than Belgium. It is the driest inhabited country and the one which has less fertile lands. Only southwest and southeast of Australia has a temperate weather. Australia is the sovereign country of Oceania. Kangaroo meat can be purchased from the supermarket, butchered and available on restaurant menus as a leaner and healthier alternative to beef or lamb with a 1 or 2% fat content. Approximately 1.35 trillion bottles of wine are produced by Australia.
The largest Greek population in the world beside Athens in Greece can be found in Melbourne, Victoria. The indigenous Dreamtime is the foundation for tens of thousands of years of spiritual Aboriginal art, traditions, legends, myths, folklore, and culture. The only nation continent of 20 million people in the world is Australia. More than 80% of Australians live within 100 kilometers of the coast, making Australia one of the world's most urbanized coastal dwelling populations. The world's highest proportion of migrant settlers in a developed nation, with over 25% of Australians were born in another country. Today, Australia is very multicultural with indigenous people and migrants from some 200 countries. Australia's first small step to a fully multicultural Australia was the result of immigrants from Eastern Europe and the Mediterranean after 1945, while 1988 was named a year of mourning for Aboriginals. It was also regarded as a celebration of survival, where the Aboriginal community staged a 5 kilometers march for freedom, justice, and hope in Sydney. Former Prime Minister of Australia Kevin Rudd apologized to Indigenous Australians in 2007. He is viewed by many as a major milestone in reconciliation. Melbourne topped 140 rivals to be crowned the world's most livable city 2 years in a row since 2011. The sports capital of the world has 70% of its total population participating at least once a week in a particular recreational activity or sport.
Over 200 different languages and dialects are spoken in Australia, including 45 indigenous languages. The most common non-English spoken languages are Italian, Greek, Cantonese, Arabic, Vietnamese, and Mandarin. The first Australian of the Year award was awarded to Professor Macfarlane Burnett, who had won the Nobel Prize in the same year of 1960 for his groundbreaking physiology research. Debate continues today on the calls to change the Australian flag. because of the prominence of the British Union Jack, which does not reflect the contemporary Australian society. Australia has 16 World Heritage listed sites, including historic townships, cities and landscapes. Australia used to be a beer drinking nation, but its quaffing plunged to a 64-year low in 2010 and 2011, with only 4.23 liters consumed per person. The Aboriginal leader, Lauja O'Donoghue, a recipient of the Order of Australia in 1976 and Australian of the Year in 1984, delivered the first milestone National Australia Day address on the 26th of January in the 2000. It is believed that the original game of Mangrook inspired the rules for Australian football, while invented in Sydney became popular in Victoria. Australia was the second country in the world to give women the right to vote in 1902. Australia has the highest rate of gambling in the world, with over 80% of Australian adults engaging in gambling of some kind, and 20% of the poker machines in the world are found in Australia. Australia Day today is a celebration of diversity and tolerance in Australian society, embracing all ethnic backgrounds, racial differences and political viewpoints. 80% of Australians believe Australia has a strong culture and identity characterized by being down to earth, nature, honesty, sports and multiculturalism, based on research organized by the Australia Day Council of NSWV in 2008.
Australia, for its small population, has produced a remarkable number of famous people. In the academic topic, Australia has won 12 Nobel Prizes. The first one was received by the physicist William Bragg in 1915. In the entertainment department, the movie business was initiated in Australia with a film made by the Salvation Army under the name of Soldier of the Cross. Even though Australian music has a very large history coming from the indigenous and colonial society, it has contributed in many genres, from pop stars such as Kylie Minogue to cult rock bands like AC/DC. We can find very renowned actors such as Hugh Jackman, Heath Ledger and Nicole Kidman, all of them winners of more than one international award and recipients of a star in the Hollywood Hall of Fame. Australians have an odd liking to food programs. Talking about food, being a continent surrounded by oceans, Australian cuisine has always had a strong reliance on seafood and at present has the third largest fishing zone in the world. Australia produces some of the world's most highly regarded beef and lamb, historically being based on the food legacy of their English colonization. Australians have in recent decades eagerly embraced the cooking styles and ingredients brought with them by the influx of European, North American, and especially the later Asian migrants. Australia's native foods are known as bush tucker. Bush tucker has been revived in the recent years. You can find a restaurant serving native food like kangaroo, jabbies, eels, or witchetty groups. Modern Australian cuisine has now developed a character of its own, being a fusion of different food traditions, flavors, and cooking techniques which are used to create interesting and vibrant dishes with an emphasis on fresh.